How we do, everybody? This is Let's Be Real Brat, and today we're going over something I probably have never even thought of looking up before, or even thought of in my head. What are my favorite movies of all time, ranked as a top 10? I mean, it's an easy thing to do, rank things in the top 10. Honestly, this list was so hard to do. I did not know how to put these films together. The more I thought about a film, the more I change it. I move it up, I move it back. There was new movies that I looked up, and I was like, oh, maybe that should be on the list, and I took off, and I took on. This list was a mess. I think these could be in different order. So just to let you know, these are not in a definite order. Number 10 is E.T. E.T., man, I love E.T. You know, I think it's just one of those movies that growing up, I loved so much and nobody else in my family really loved. And so maybe for me, for the longest time, I never really truly embraced it. But then after watching it a couple times later, I just love this movie. I just love the creativity. It seems like every science fiction film is copying the same format, the same structure, same story. As alien that comes down to Earth and people see it and really like it. And eventually the police or some organization has to come over and try to get it. And then it goes back to its home planet. We've seen that so many times because this movie was so influential. It was just so big because it was so great and it was so innovative and it was done by the magnificent Steven Spielberg. I really love E.T. I did get the 4K of it and I haven't watched it yet, so that's one I'm really excited to watch on 4K. Number 9 on this list is Jaws, directed by Steven Spielberg again. Man, it seems like this made great movies, huh? I guess so. I guess he did. I love Jaws. I think because it's so influential and before its time. I mean, if you ran inflation, it would make $1 billion. Besides the influence of the film, I think it is such a great story. It's so simple, but you have such great characters. They just go on this quest to finally take out the shark. That's so cool. I really enjoy that. This is definitely a film that I feel like everyone should watch. But what else can I say about this movie that hasn't been said already? So it's definitely number 9 for me. Number 8 is Back to the Future. I feel like this is probably on a lot of people's lists. Back to the Future is just so fun. It's so smart. And I love all the science-y, weird, quirky stuff that they do with it. I love the story. I love the characters. The special effects are awesome. It's extremely funny. It has some sequels that I do enjoy as well. It's just one of those movies you can just put on whenever you want. It doesn't matter what kind of day it is. It doesn't matter what your mood is. You can always enjoy it. Number 7 on this list is Jurassic Park. Again, by Steven Spielberg. Man, this guy made great movies. Let me tell you about Jurassic Park. So I watched this movie for the first time when I was around 15 or 16. I fell in love with this movie. I think it's because Jurassic World was coming out. I was like, oh, this looks like a pretty cool movie. And I looked it up and I was like, oh, it's part of a series. So I'll watch the first one. I just loved how dark and gritty and how real everything looked. Considering this movie came out in 1993, the special effects and the practical effects that were used of making the dinosaurs and the setting and all that good stuff, it was just so real. And yeah, some of it's outdated, but think about it, 93, that must have been so insane. And some of the stuff looks so good now, especially when you have great characters in the film. You're gonna be into it. I think my favorite scene is definitely when the T-Rex comes in and it's raining out and they're stuck in their little Jurassic Park little car. It's one of my favorite scenes. You have Alan Grant running around with a torch saying, hey, over here, and he's running away. That's probably one of my favorite scenes of all time. I just absolutely love that scene. It is perfect on a rainy day to watch that scene because it's raining in that, and I don't know where I was going with it, but you get it. You get it, of course. Number 6 is Raiders of the Lost Ark. Again, by Steven Spielberg. You might notice a trend here. I do like a lot of Spielberg's films. Raiders of the Lost Ark is probably one of the first films that I really enjoyed that was more adult oriented, because I feel like this movie is definitely a family film, but then as I watch it as I get older, I'm like, man, there's some really dark stuff in here, especially Temple of Doom. I don't know how that movie was rated PG, but they didn't have PG-13 rating back then, so I can understand why. But I just love the adventure aspect. The music's great. I mean, Harrison Ford kills it, and you can tell he just loves being indie. The effects are awesome. The action scenes are great. I mean, this movie revolutionized so many adventure films that everyone wants to be the next Indiana Jones, and I can understand why, because it's to this day, it's still one of the most fun movies I've probably ever seen. Really love Indiana Jones. Show you guys some pictures of me one day as Indiana Jones, but yeah, I did have an Indiana Jones party. Don't tell anybody. Number 5 on this list, Star Wars The Empire Strikes Back. Episode 5. I mean, I think this is the best Star Wars film. I mean, obviously, the original Star Wars is great. It's phenomenal. It's obviously one of the highest grossing movies of all time. Very influential, great sci-fi film. But I think 5 did it better. I feel like it's darker. Really focuses on Luke and Darth Vader, and I think it's just great. I really enjoyed it. Special effects are awesome, and the ending is great. I mean, it has one of the best twist endings of all time. I love how the movie ends, and you're just kind of like, well, okay, what happens now? I don't really know what we can do now. Number 4 on this list is actually a newer film, Avengers Infinity War by the Russo brothers. Now, I didn't know if I was going to put this on this list. It's kind of a newer film. Some of these films I've kind of watched a lot. Infinity War I saw 3 times opening weekend. I just love it. I love Avengers Infinity War. The fact that we are able to get all these characters into one place and to be able to finally fight Thanos, so we have never actually seen except in post-credits. It was just, I think because the build-up of it was so awesome. The ending is phenomenal. The twist ending, cliffhanger, it's just so good. The action scenes are great. The special effects are awesome. The humor really works well. Just really love Infinity War. And I think it's just one of those movies I can watch anytime I wanted to. I think it's because it was built up so well from all these other solo films and Avengers films leading to this moment. It's just done so well, and it's so entertaining, and it's just, can't see people not liking this film. If you really don't like the MCU movies, you're probably not going to like this. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we are in the top 3. Top 3. I don't know how we made it here. I have no idea. Number 3 goes to Spider-Man 2. Spider-Man 2, man, I think I've watched this movie so many times. It's ridiculous. I love the trilogy. I think it's so good. Even though Spider-Man 3 is such a letdown, but man, I have such great memories of that movie. I still really enjoy it. I'd still have it in the collection. I would put it on a couple times. And they understand the tone. Sam Raimi does such a great job of understanding and developing these characters while also keeping that comic book-esque to all of it, with these weird, exotic villains and over-the-top, crazy action scenes. Like, it's just so much fun. And I think Spider-Man 2 does something better that Spider-Man, the first one, didn't do. I think it has a little more heart. Spider-Man 2 really dives into Peter Parker. Everything else that's going on with his life and what he's dealing with. Doc Ock is such a great villain. Alfred Molina does a great job. The train sequence is probably one of my favorite action scenes in any film. It looks marvelous to this day. It is just perfect. Number 2 is Toy Story 2. I could have just put all the Toy Stories in here, but I don't want to cheat. But Toy Story 2 is probably the most watched movie that I've ever seen. And I think because it had so much heart and it was so much fun, and seeing Woody's background that we never really get, I thought was so interesting. I'm thinking about it now, it's interesting that they went into the backstory of a toy. And it has a lot to say about values and our role is in society, and they use it through animation and trying to get the message along to kids. So you can be who you want, and they did it in such a creative way that it can speak to kids and allow them to be like, you know what, just because I was designed for this doesn't mean I can't branch off and do something else. I just think it's such a great message. I think all the characters are really great. I love the animation. It still holds up magnificently to this day. That's just, it's true talent. And the fact that this movie almost was never made because the file was almost deleted blows my mind, because Toy Story 2, I couldn't live without it. We're on to number 1. Whew. Some of you guys already may know what it is, and some of you guys may not. But it is Cats. Oh, I love Cats. Cats is it's just a masterpiece. Great music. Oh, the CGI is so good. I love all these random celebrities. It's so good. You haven't seen Cats yet? What? Nah, I'm just kidding. Cats is literally one of the worst movies I've ever seen. Terminator 2 Judgment Day. What I love so much about the second Terminator is the relationship between this new T-800 and John Connor. I mean, it's just the best part of the movie. It's so good. And you have a T-1000 villain who can shape shift and can do whatever he wants. He seems like an unstoppable villain. add Linda Hamilton as Sarah Connor, and she's just so cool. She's just one of my favorite female characters in films because she doesn't give excuses. She's always on her toes. She kicks a lot of butt, and I love it. And Linda Hamilton just has so much range with this character because this character's mental capacity is all over the place. The action scenes are so much fun. The music is great. Dun 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 dun. I just love it, and it gives me goosebumps every time I watch it. It's just one of those movies that is just so entertaining throughout, and I feel like there's always something happening. I actually did dress up as Terminator to go see Terminator 2 3D re-release in 4K on my birthday a few years ago, and here's a picture right here. Yep, that's me. I look really, really cool and really young, and they let me go in there with the shades on, no beard, and this weird outfit. They didn't question me, so it's the AMC for that. But don't get the 4K. The 4K is really awful. That was a disappointing thing, but I still have the Blu-ray, the 2015 edition, and it looks marvelous. Alright guys, that's it. Please like and subscribe. Please share the video. Let me know what are some of your favorite movies down below. Follow me on Twitter, follow me on Instagram, and we'll see you guys here next time.